Good evening, everybody. Today's book is called Bullies Never Win by Marjorie Kohler. Jessica was a worrier. She worried night and day. She worried about her socks not matching, and having knobby knees, and losing her barrettes, and not doing well in school. But in Mr. Martin's first grade class, Jessica had a big worry. Brenda Bailey. Brenda was perfect. Her bangs were even. Her homework was always right. She wore a new outfit every day, and she scowled when Jessica did something better than she did. If Jessica got all her homework right, Brenda would say, "I bet you cheated." So Jessica hid her homework. If Jessica wore a new skirt to school, Brenda would say, "Your legs look like toothpicks." So Jessica started wearing pants. If Jessica scored at kickball, Brenda would say, "You were just lucky." So Jessica stopped playing kickball. Brenda never asked Jessica to sit with her at lunch. Instead, Brenda sat with all her friends, and Jessica sat alone. Jessica got tired of sitting by herself, so one day she tried sitting at Brenda's table. "Look who's here! Toothpick!" Jessica's eyes started to sting. She blinked to keep from crying. She left the cafeteria without finishing her lunch. Man, those kids are mean. After school, Jessica went to her room. She stared at the wall. She worried. What terrible things would Brenda say next? Jessica thought about Mr. Martin. He had told the class that sometimes bullies stop bullying if you just ignore them. But how could Jessica ignore a bully who was always in her face? At dinner, Dad asked, "How was school?" Jessica stared at her food. "What's wrong?" asked Mom. "Nothing," said Jessica. That night, Jessica couldn't fall asleep. She squeezed her eyes shut and tried to count sheep, but instead, she saw perfect little Brenda leaping over the fence. The next morning, her eyes felt as dry as sand and her stomach hurt. "Can I stay home today?" she asked Mom. Her mother felt her forehead. "You don't feel hot." "I have a stomach ache," said Jessica. "I guess you are sick," said Mom. "Go back to bed." Immediately, Jessica's stomach felt better. But she knew she couldn't avoid Brenda forever, so the following day, Jessica went to school. All morning, Jessica ignored Brenda, but at lunchtime, she discovered that Mom had packed her sandwich in Tom's lunchbox. She tried to shove it behind her back before Brenda could see, but she wasn't quick enough. "Toothpick has a boy's lunchbox," Brenda said to everyone. Jessica's cheeks felt like chili peppers. How could Mom have made such a mistake? "Come sit over here," called Anita. Jessica quickly sat down next to Anita and her friends. "That Brenda's such a bully," said Anita. "You should stand up to her." But Jessica couldn't. When she got home, Jessica told her mother, "You packed my lunch in Tom's lunchbox." "It's a boy lunchbox." "I was in a hurry," said Mom. "I'm sorry." She paused. "What difference does it make? Your lunch is your lunch no matter what it's packed in." "It makes a big difference," said Jessica, and she burst into tears. "This can't be just about your lunch boxes," said Mom. It's about Brenda, said Jessica, hiccuping between sobs. She picks on me. She calls me toothpick. Today, she teased me about Tom's lunchbox. That's terrible, said Mom. Have you told her how you feel? No, cried Jessica. Then she'd really make fun of me. Why don't you talk to Mr. Martin, suggested Mom. If he knew that Brenda was bullying you, he'd do something about it. That night, Jessica tossed and turned. Should she talk to Mr. Martin? Should she stand up to Brenda? What could she do to her? Your bangs are ugly. Your knees are flat as pancakes. Your freckles look like pimples. The next morning, Brenda came up behind Jessica in the hallway. Toothpick, Brenda hissed. Jessica's heart began to pound. She thought about what her mother had said. She turned around and blurted, I'm going to tell Mr. Martin if you keep picking on me. Tattletale, said Brenda, and she stuck out her tongue and ran into the classroom. At lunch, Jessica sat with Anita again. Brenda was at the next table, and all her friends. Hey, Toothpick, called Brenda. Did you bring your brother's lunchbox again? No wonder you're so skinny. You eat baby food. Jessica stood up. Enough was enough. She put her hands on her hips. In a loud voice, she said, Toothpicks may be thin, but bullies never win. Brenda blushed. Her freckles turned pink. For once, she didn't say anything. Jessica threw back her shoulders and marched out of the cafeteria. At dinner, Laura asked, Did you stand up for yourself to that bully? Why didn't you like my lunchbox? Asked Tom. Pass the biscotti, said Dad. How'd things go? Asked Mom. I don't think Brenda will pick on me anymore, said Jessica. But even if she does, I know what to do. Hooray for Jessica, said her family. Hooray for toothpicks, said Jessica. And that night, Jessica fell asleep without any more worries. Bullies are never nice, and they're never fun to be around. But just like Jessica, don't sit there and be in pain by yourself. Talk to somebody. Talk to your mom or your dad. Talk to me or Miss Brown. You can talk to anybody you need to at school. We're all here to listen for you. Thankfully, we don't seem to have any bullies in our class, and I really love that everybody's friends and gets along. So I hope it stays that way. But for those of you who might have trouble with somebody, talk to somebody. You never know what kind of solution you can come up with. Have a good night. Bye.